Peace Queen. It's Melissa Crawford of thequeencode.com. And my message today is about the power of your past. It's in our past that we find our roots. And it's at the root that we find the power to create and the power to destroy. It's in our past that we find pieces of who we really are. And when you think about it, our past is always communicating to us. Our past informs us. And in order to move forward in a powerful way, many times we have to go back from where we came. I want to show you something. In Ghana, West Africa, in the Akan culture, this bird here represents Sankofa. And Sankofa literally means to go back and get it, to return, to seek and to claim. So this bird, if you can see her, she's actually turned backwards and she's getting an egg off her back. And when you think about an egg, it represents unawakened potential, sleeping potential. So this is the Sankofa bird. Now also in the African Adinkra symbols, Sankofa is represented as this beautiful stylized heart here. And even in the heart you can still see, it looks like now two birds turned backwards. So whether it is the beautiful Sankofa bird, or whether it's the beautiful African Adinkra symbol of Sankofa with the stylized heart, the whole concept of Sankofa is centered around the African proverb, it is not wrong to go back and claim that which you have forgotten. It is not wrong to go back and claim that which you have forgotten. So in other words, it's not wrong to go back to your past and take what's good, claim that, and bring that into your present so that you can move forward, progress positively through self-knowledge. It is not wrong to go back and claim that piece of yourself so that you can really move forward in a powerful way through knowing thyself. So I want to talk about the power of your past in the spirit of Sankofa. And very much like the 2013 Queen Prophecy series, I realized when I was preparing this message that I could not do this in just one message. So this is actually a 3-part message, and this is part 1 because I really wanted to go deep with this, because it's in going deep that we really begin to find that hidden treasure. It's in going deep and going back that we begin to connect those dots that leads to unlocking the Queen Code. So this is part 1 of the Sankofa, the power of your past message. And in part 1, I'm asking you to go back to your childhood. You know, in our childhood, we find these amazing bright points that really direct us to who we really are. Our childhoods are gold mines in uncovering and discovering who we really are. And it's really because as children, we already know who we are. Intuitively, we know. Instinctively, we know. And even though we may not be able to articulate that or verbalize that, it shows up very powerfully in our actions. I remember years ago when I got so desperate, about 4 years ago, I got so desperate to understand who I really was and why I was here and what was my purpose and all these different things. I began to turn over every rock that I could. And I found the most clarity and the greatest discoveries. I made the greatest discoveries in going back to my childhood. And as I began to do that and unlock my own Queen Code years later, as I began to mentor my Queen clients, I would have them do the same thing. I would ask them questions like, what excited you as a child? What did you do effortlessly as a child that maybe another child might have thought was kind of weird or or wasn't as fun? What were you naturally drawn to as a child? And recently I had a friend of mine introduce me to a similar concept, but it really hit the nail on the head. She asked me, Melissa, what did you play as a child? And when I think about it, as a child, I always loved to play make-believe, but I always had to be a certain character in the make-believe game. And going back again and always, looking at my past, I realized that in my book 3 years ago, I actually wrote about what I played as a child. It's actually in my book From Good to Great in day 20. And day 20 is Dream Big Dreams. So here I am writing about what I played as a child, and I say, as a child, I enjoyed playing the game of make believe with my friends. We would dress up in my grandmother's clothes and pretend that we were rich and famous people. We talked about how fabulous and carefree our lives were. We bragged about our mansions and expensive cars, our famous friends, and the movies we starred in. We would go on like this for hours. When the game was over, we put the clothes back on the hangers, put the heels back in their place, and the jewelry back in the jewelry box. Then we were off to play freeze tag, hopscotch, or double dutch. I remember lingering behind as my friends went outside to play. Make believe was a favorite childhood game, but now as an adult, I look back on those times and realize that it was not a game to me. I could never get over my childhood fantasies of living a life of great significance, abundance, and influence. My friends were playing, but I was practicing. And one of the things that I didn't write about here was that I actually won my first pageant when I was 5. And so, I had the trophy. It's actually right here. It has 1988 on it. And I also had the crown. And so many times, almost all the time, when we were playing make believe, I always had to wear my little paper crown. And my friends were always so sick and tired of me wearing that daggone crown, but I loved to walk around in my crown and my high heels, and I couldn't have been no more than maybe 6 or 7 or 8. But that's what I always loved to do. Like as a child, I always loved to play these make-believe games that, I was, an honored guest or something significant. I even remember there were times when we would eat dinner and I was at the dinner table and, pretending that, it was a 5-star restaurant and, everything was posh and all of this stuff. And it was funny because sometimes my friends would laugh at me, but sometimes they would also kind of pick at me because it's like, who do you think you are? You're eating the same, because I'm from the hood, so it's like you're eating the same neck bones and rice that we're eating. Like, why are you acting like that? And so it's interesting because, even in my childhood, it was in my heart to be queen. And even in my childhood, it was in my heart to know that I could be, do, and have anything that I wanted, that we all have that power. So it's no wonder to me that now, 20 plus years later, I am leading with the Queen Code and mentoring women that what they truly desire in their hearts, whoever they truly desire to be or what they desire to have, is what they're supposed to be experiencing. So it's amazing how that connection, I see it in my past. So what I'm saying to you, Queen, not only go back to your past and your childhood, but I'm asking you, what did you play as a child? Understanding who you were and what you played as a child before any of the miseducation came in, right? Because there were a time as children that we effortlessly played, and then something began to happen where we were told that we couldn't do this and we couldn't do that, and we were told who we had to be and what was possible, and this is impossible. And before all the miseducation and misinformation, and before all of that negative programming that told us that we had to think inside of a box and that we couldn't color outside the lines, who were you before that? What were you doing before that? What did you play as a child? For many of my queen clients, when I ask them that, for many of them, they always say, I used to play teacher. I love to play teacher. And going through the process of mentorship, and as we're unlocking their Queen Code, we discover that they are master teachers. Not only are they teachers, but they're supposed to be the leader of leaders, the teacher of teachers. They're master teachers. Even Oprah, recently, about a year or two ago, I was reading an article where she was really digging through her childhood, and she realized that when she was a child, she used to love to play teacher. And she loved to get everybody together and teach them something. And even though that's played out in her life over her career with the Oprah show, and she's always been this amazing woman that could hold this space where people like you and I could learn, even though that's played out through her career, it was a few years ago where she shared that she really began to embrace that. And that was around the time that she came out with Masterclass. So what I'm asking you to do, Queen, is I'm asking you to grab hold of those bright points in your childhood and hug those, because that is who you are. And as you begin to do that, you do something that's very powerful. You begin to unlock your Queen Code. I love how Apple founder, the late great Steve Jobs, he says, sometimes we can't connect the dots looking forward. We can only connect the dots when we go back. So I'm asking you again, Queen, go back, Sankofa. Go back and claim that which you have forgotten, and go back to your childhood. So for this week, I want you to think about that. Go deep with that. What did you play as a child? What were the things that really excited you as a child? Begin to really pay attention and connect those dots. It's all about remembering. And by remembering, I'm not simply talking about recall from a intellectual intelligence. I'm talking about reconnecting in your heart from an emotional intelligence. So that's my message for you today. That's part one of Sankofa. Go back to your childhood. In the meantime, I do have a wonderful gift for you. If you go to my site at www.thequeencode.com, I have a phenomenal free audio, Queen, You Were Born to Succeed. And in this free audio, you're going to get the blueprint for how you can begin to step powerfully into who you are and claim that in 2013 and beyond. So all you have to do to claim that free gift is go to www.thequeencode.com, and I'll talk to you soon.